So I was watching the footage on the shooting at the Louisville bank um, off of police body cam footage on YouTube. And so I was thinking about how it should be a building code violation regarding the windows or glass that you make the actual bank out of. And this could work for airports and schools too, and other businesses, is that the building that you're making those building code violations should include specifications such that when you make those walls out of glass or whatever, that only certain areas can be made out of see-through glass, but they should be one way such that any approaching officers or SWAT should be able to go in there and see into the bank, but the shooter can't see out. I know that one of the risks that people would have is, what about the bank employees and the customers who are in the bank? They should be able to see out, but really that's not just for their safety, but also for the police officer's safety. But the way to but the thing about it is that the police officer would be able to see the shooter, but the shooter would not be able to see the police officer or the SWAT. So they could position themselves in such a way tactically that they could see the shooter in the building anywhere they are. But at the same time, the shooter can't see them. And so even though they can't shoot in and the shooter can't shoot out, the way that I would think to help bank employees and stuff and consumers is that you want to be able to get the police officer in there, but you also don't. One of the other ways that you can keep the shooter from being able to realize that you are in fact an officer who is approaching is by moving all surveillance out of the bank that's primary to entranceways and stuff, such that that surveillance could go to a remote location, and a remote security guard could unlock the door, and you could have a foyer where you have double doors where when you enter, they lock behind you, and then the doors in front of you are already locked, but you have to use remote key access to unlock that, or notify somebody to physically unlock it, because you wouldn't want them hacking it like a key fob or anything like that. So when you walk in, it would scan you in that entranceway or that foyer, but there'd be no other people, including a security guard or whatever, in that actual foyer. They might be outside the bank, but when you're locked in that box, it would scan you to see if you have any metal on you or anything dangerous, and there would be an intercom so that the security guard could ask you questions and things like that and give you direction as far as what you're supposed to do. And when you enter into that box, if you have a gun on you, you can't shoot out of that box, but the police could see into it, much the same as the windows if you were in a general area of the bank. So when you enter that entranceway, if you have a firearm or you are a gunman or a robber, you would essentially be trapped in a glass box, such that while you're trapped in there, they could call the police, and the police could come out and apprehend the suspect, such that the suspect would not be able to use any firearms against any hostages or officers while in that block. And this would, and they would know where to position themselves to enter once the remote surveillance officer opens that door. And remote surveillance officers, to save the bank money, or a school system or whatever it might be, could surveil multiple schools or branches at any given point, such that it would be on a regular, consistent basis. So Another thought is when you approach a scene involving a shooter or anyone with an active firearm, police could deaden their sirens so as not to alert the gunman of their presence when they get there, and the gunman would not be able to see them, but they would definitely be able to see the gunman. These are just some ideas. Another idea, but I don't know how you'd secure it, would be for emergency, like police entry or something. You could put a trapdoor on the roof of the building, such that the police could get in from above with a tactical unit if they can't necessarily get in the front door or anything like that. Yeah.